query segment of Buy Now, Sell Now. So let's get going with your queries. The first one is coming in from Vijay Durga, and this is specifically for you, Kunal. He's saying the Info Edge stock has corrected almost 40% from its highs. Is it the right time to enter this particular counter for the longer term? What are the charts suggesting? So Kunal, straight up question, what are the charts suggesting for Info Edge?
So yeah, the stock has corrected significantly from 7,200, 300 levels, now almost at 4,800 levels for itself. So it's been a sharp correction. The history of the stock prior to that as well on a multi-year basis has been quite strong, and the stock has gone into periods of very strong uptrend which have lasted for years. On a trot, for this name. So the stock correcting more than 30%, 40% from its recent swing highs comes as a good advantage for guys who've been wanting to buy the stock and own it from a longer term perspective. I think we should start nibbling at current levels. Maybe look at time-wise corrections as further opportunities to try and buy the stock. But yes, I think at current levels of 4,800 relative to what the stock was 3-4 months back, I think it's a good price where you can start entering the stock.
Okay, the next question is coming in from Father Prabhakar, who's writing in from Nagpur, and he says that he acquired Vijay Satyam long time back, and I'm guessing this is much before 2013, and he got 468 shares right now in the intervening period after the swap ratio and the bonus share issues and the reduction of the face value, all of that in Tech Mahindra. He's holding on to 468 shares of Tech Mahindra at this juncture. He's wondering whether to hold on to this, or does it make sense from the long-term point of view to switch to another IT company?
Well, if you ask me apple-to-apple comparison, I think that TCS is much better placed than Tech Mahindra. But again, my view on Tech Mahindra is that the stock might, slip to 1550 odd. And from there, I think that it should start its movement upwards. We've seen a decent rally in the entire IT space, and I'm fairly bullish on all the top-rung IT companies: TechM, HCL, Wipro, Infosys, and TCS. But yes, I would definitely recommend that if somebody can switch to TCS, which also has a buyback in store at about 4,500. So TCS seemingly is at the best, is best suited and best placed. So if he can flip to TCS, wonderful. Otherwise, he has a very low acquisition price. So I would say that hold on to your horses. TechM also is a very good company.
All right, so this is coming in from Padma, and Padma has two pharmaceutical names, or rather healthcare sector names. One is she has 200 shares of Thyrocare and also of Aurobindo Pharma, which is bought at around 10 to 15% at higher levels, and both these counters are laggards currently. So she wants to know whether she should actually switch directly to banking names like Axis or ICICI Bank. What's your take, Kunal? Do you think it makes sense for Padma to move out of Thyrocare and Aurobindo and look at banking names like Axis and ICICI Bank, because she's saying both of them are laggards in her portfolio currently?
So I think it could be a good move, frankly, but I think it all depends on how the entire portfolio is constructed, whether you are heavily skewed towards financials or banking. I think that needs to be assessed. But then the question is quite interesting, because what the viewer is also trying to indicate is that shift from the low beta stocks towards the rate sensitives, and especially at a time when the banking stocks and the large cap ones have started to show signs of positive reversals for themselves, and I'm talking about it from more of a longer term perspective and a longer term time scale for these stocks. So I think in that aspect it could actually turn out to be a good move. But as I said, that you have to also look at your larger portfolio construct. If you're not too much skewed towards financials already, then I think it could be a good move to shift from the likes of Aurobindo Pharma and such other names to banking names, and specifically stick towards large cap quality, ICICI, Axis, and probably if you want to add even an HDFC Bank.
Okay. We've got a question coming in from Sitaram Ganesh, and he's asking about Tata Consumer or Praj Industries, different industries for the long period, and he's asking whether to get into one or the other. Vijay, what would you suggest? Praj, of course, is a play on the whole ethanol story, right? So which would you say is the better bet at this juncture?
Well, I think Tata Consumer, the stock has corrected very well, and we have seen what has happened to the Hindustan Lever stock. So I think the consumer stocks, the likes of Marico, Dabur, even Colgate, Palmolive, Tata Consumer, Hindustan Lever, all these companies look good. And post correction, because I think in such markets people definitely look for safer areas and conservative industries. So I think Tata Consumer is a very good buy at these levels. And if somebody wants to buy, because Praj has run up considerably, and there is definitely a risk, that it might correct a bit. But I don't see much correction happening in Tata Consumer. It has already corrected. So good possibility is that it can scale up back to 850, 900 levels.
All right, this one is from Natrajan, and he wants to know whether it's okay to buy Mastech at current levels for the 1 year horizon. What's your take coming in on this one? Kunal, we've seen what's happening to the IT sector. No doubt Persistent is holding up, but even the mid-cap IT sector also looks like will be bearing the brunt of the slowdown coming in the tech sector on the stock perspective, I'm saying. So what's your take on Mastech? Do you think it's a good level to enter right now with a 1 year perspective?
See, I think when you look at the last 20 months of chart patterns for mid-cap IT names like Mastech, the stock was at 200 or 250. I think if I'm not wrong, 165 rather at the pandemic lows, and from there it's moved up to 3,500 plus. So it's a very strong 20x kind of a rally for stock like Mastech. Now from 3,500, if a stock gets into a 10% correction, it may actually not be a good starting point, because there could be a factor of time correction, there could be a factor of deep price corrections as well, which could come along the way for these names, and especially for a stock which has rallied up 20x. You have to understand that the best returns, at least in the very near term, could be behind the stock price. So rather than looking at this opportunity, I would and at current levels, I would suggest a buy on dips approach. And have some powder dry, waiting for the stock to get to a correction phase. So assuming if it starts off at current levels and then moves on to say 2,500, or even at a point if the stock gets into a sharper correction zone, and if it comes to say 2,000 odd levels, these are the steep price levels on the downside which you should be waiting out for if you're looking to average and buy from a longer term perspective.
Okay, we've got a question coming in from Gauri, and she's asking about Tata Elxsi at the current price, and what would you suggest you can do for the long term? Kunal, is this a good entry point? And she's looking at as many as 5 years, so it's a pretty long time horizon, but would you suggest entering at this juncture?
Not really, Alex. Very similar kind of view. Tata Elxsi also, I think in the last 6 quarters has moved up from 500 towards 7,700 levels. So the best of the returns for stocks like Tata Elxsi seems to have happened. Possibly the stock can get into a correction / consolidation mode, which could last for months on a trot. So I think it's very, very important to not just invest in the right stock, but invest in the right stock at the right time as well. So these may not be great times to invest into a stock which has already run up 15x, 16x from its 6 quarters low. So I would suggest wait for a significant correction if you're looking to chip into a stock like Tata Elxsi.
All right, a lot of actually short-term questions coming in, but let me take this one. Is from Venkat, and I'm sorry, Venkat, we could not take your question yesterday, but he wants to know about Tata Chemicals for the longer term, considering his low ROS and ROE, as there are many better chemical companies. What's your take on this one, Vijay? Do you think Tata Chemicals is a strong bet to look at for the longer term? Do you think it's the right time to enter in? And if you've already invested, stay put with the holding?
Well, yes, I think that Tata Chemical has grand plans to, they're already setting up a state-of-the-art battery plant in UK. So for EVs especially, to back up JLR. So Tata Chemicals, apart from the chemical business it has, apart from the stake in Rallis, apart from the stake in Tata Sons, and apart from the the Tata Green Battery division they have. So they have a lot of businesses, and I think backed by a very stable and a very credible management, Tata's So for the longer term, yes, it would be a good idea to get into the stock. But yes, wait for a bit of a more correction. I think that 920, 930 odd levels would be a great time to get into a stock for a longer term perspective. But yes, who are holding, they can keep on holding. There would be corrections, in good stocks, there would be blips. But again, it doesn't change the fundamentals of the company at all. So I'm fairly bullish on Tata Chemicals. And if somebody holds with a longer term perspective, it can definitely go to 1200, 1300 as well. So just keep on holding.
Kunal, coming to you on Polycab, and we've got a question coming from Raghu. He's asking whether it can be bought for the long term.
Again, a stock which has done exceptionally well, and a stock which has a habit of getting into a 3 to 6 month kind of a time correction and a price consolidation for itself. So we've seen that happening for Polycab, when the stock started to hit that 4-digit mark, 1000 odd levels, where it went to 4-5 months of a sideways consolidation. Then when the stock jumped up to 2200 levels in the fag end of September is again where you saw the stock getting into a 3 to 4 month of a time correction for itself. So I would say that if you're looking to invest into these kind of names, wait for those periods of consolidation and correction where the stock migrates into a trading range and then moves up higher. So I think at best you could look at starting to buy the stock maybe at 2500 levels and keep on averaging lower as now the stock gets into a consolidation.
This one is a query coming in from Shailaja, wants to know whether she can buy Sapphire Foods at current market price or the shorter term. Even Maleshwar also is asking a similar question to us. What's your take, Kunal? Recently listed count, I'm unsure if you'll be able to answer this one, but do you think that they can buy Sapphire Foods at current price or the short term?
So yes, Cheryl, very short term price data is a bit limited, but if it's very short term oriented, then I would suggest that maybe wait for a couple of trading sessions more. The stock is trying to form a resistance at 1450 levels. So in the last 1 week, there were like 2-3 attempts towards the stock trying to break past above 1450, but it's been met with a lot of supply. The short-term indicators, are getting into slightly, I would say, reversal or a bearish kind of a zone for the stock. I would suggest a wait. Let the stock break past above 1450 levels. That could probably lift off the resistance and start off a new trend for the stock in the near term.
Okay, we've got a question coming in from Tara, and she's asking a question on I'm lost at this juncture. On latent, no, sorry, I'm going to have to take another one. We've got a question from Rekha on Z Entertainment. 242 rupees per share is her buy price. She's looking for a target for the long term. Kunal, do you have one?
Z again looks to be a very, very interesting and a promising chart. The last 6 months have been revolution for the stock. There's been a dramatic change in terms of the stock price trend. So it looks very attractive. You've acquired also at a good price to 40 odd levels. I would suggest that you hold on to it from a longer term perspective, even if the stock is getting into a short term correction zone. But I think it's coming back towards some attractive support territories for itself from where the stock can bounce off quite sharply. So I would suggest the hold.
All right. This one is coming from Rajat. KPIT Tech or SRF. He wants to know whether he should look at both of them for a 1 year perspective. Which one should I choose and what targets can I expect? KPIT Tech and SRF, both of them very diverse verticals altogether, sectors altogether. What's your take? Which among these should actually Rajat look at, Kunal? A tricky question for you.
But I think both of these stocks at current juncture, frankly, Cheryl, they don't look attractive to me in terms of price points. So yes, these stocks would have done exceptionally well in the last 6 months or in the last maybe 5 years for themselves. But then, when you're looking to buy stocks and looking at it from a longer term perspective, as I said earlier, that you have to buy also you have to start entering into the stock at a much, attractive risk reward price or a price where the stock has come back into a corrective zone. I think in that sense, both these stocks, SRF as KPIT Tech, they still look overpriced to me on the short-term indicators and the short-term charts. I would suggest to wait for some more time. Let these stocks correct by say another 15% on an average. Then I think they could come back into some good attractive prices where you can start nibbling at those levels.
Okay, very quick view, Vijay, on this next one. If you have a view, that is Websol Energy System. This is Tara's question. Would you suggest an entry at the current price on the fundamentals?
Well, I don't think so, Alex. Look at I think any stock which is trading far above the 50 DMA, I would not recommend that, this any stock should be bought into. It has a price to earning of 64.5. So I think that it is clearly overpriced as of now. We might see a further correction. If this stock is available anywhere between 100 and 90 and 100, I think that would be a good point to get into the stock. So Websol, as of now, I think it is a bit overpriced. So no point of getting into this stock afresh.
All right, with that, let's kickstart our rapid fire. And this first one is coming towards you, Kunal. Birlasoft is the stock name. Manoj wants to know a good entry level for the short to mid term.
The stock has corrected more than 15%. I would suggest maybe wait for another 5 to 7%. If the stock comes closer to 470 or 460, that could be a good starting point where you can buy.
Kunal, Triveni Turbine is the name of the counter. It's up as much as 4.5% today. We've got a viewer who's bought at 108 levels, and she's got a view for a week. Rajni, should she hold on?
I think you can hold on. Look to keep a trailing stop loss of I think 194, which was the 3-day low, 2-day, 3-day low for the stock. If the stock holds on to this level, you can still continue to hold on.
All right, this one is coming towards you, Vijay. Hero MotoCorp, do you think then Niranjan can actually look to invest in this particular counter right now for the shorter term though?
Well, I think the stock has shown certain resilience, and from the bottom of almost 2340, it has come up to 2755. The stock can further push up to around 2900, I would say. So for the shorter term, yes, he can definitely invest in the stock. But the company also plans to get into EV, and they are developing models. So I think that it can get a bit.
Kunal, quick view on Prince Pipes at the current market price. Would you suggest a fresh entry for 6 months? Shivam wants to know.
I think good level to try and chip into the stock. It's come back towards its 200 moving average, as well as some good corrective zones. Good level to start entering the stock.
Kunal, do you track the stock Signet? Because Balan has about 1,000 shares purchased at 52 rupees per share. Wants to know whether you should sell, hold or switch.
Well, don't track the stock, Cheryl, so won't be able to offer any comment.
Okay, gentlemen, we have reached the end of the rapid fire segment and indeed the query segment. Apologies to those who tuned in and asked their questions and didn't get an answer today. There have been an absolute flood of queries today, and we've done our best, and so have our experts. Thank you so much to the both of you once again. We're slipping into a short break, but do stay tuned. More on the other side.